Just circling back for a second to this, we've been talking for the last hour or so about this notion of doubling down on your authenticity as a key to being a successful broadcaster, or actually whatever you choose to do, that you need to be in touch with your sort of authentic core.
You also need to be able to say you're sorry when you're wrong. Mm-hmm. And there seems to be a little issue with people in Washington saying they're sorry, I screwed up, or I misspoke, or I didn't see it that way, or I didn't understand it. You have to be able to admit your mistakes.
You think the president will figure this out?
I don't know. So far, we've seen no evidence of that. He does seem to double down when he's backed into a corner. He said for 4 years, Barack Obama was an assistant. I remember asking him about that. Donald, you don't really believe that, do you? It was just he and I. You don't really believe that. And he didn't answer me. I know you don't believe that. I know you don't. But we will see. We will see.
Next question.
Hi, my name is Keanu Sims.
Hello, Ms. Sims.
Hi. What advice would you give to aspiring young journalists?
I think that you have to get your foot in the door. That's what I think. I think anywhere that you can get an internship program, anywhere you can get, whether you're working on your school newspaper or your school TV station, you live in the New York City tri-state area where you've got all sorts of TV, radio, magazines, all that are open to you. All these stations are looking for internships. I never even majored in journalism, guys. I majored in psychology. And I was intending to either be a child psychologist, because even today, I love listening to people's problems and giving unsolicited advice. Ask my son and daughter. I'm really good at it. Or I'll be. The other day, I was sitting next to somebody at a restaurant. And they were talking, and I said, I couldn't help it. But maybe, and I got all up in the conversation. But I mean, I've always liked giving unsolicited advice, so I thought it'd be great as a child psychologist. Or I also was either planning to go to law school because I love the law, and I thought it'd be great to be able to argue your case in front of somebody. And I ended up getting a job at a TV station when I was in college, and I walked in that newsroom, and I never looked back after that. So I think you get experience as you can, you get your foot in the door. I can always tell, and I'll bet you see this too, Jim, interns who are going to make it. There are some interns that come in and they're like this, or they're yakking on the phone, or they're looking like they're bored out of their friggin' minds, as opposed to, do you have anything for me to do? Is there something I can do to help you? Is there anything I can do to make the job easier for you? Or would you like me to get information? I love it when somebody does something and you don't even ask them to do it, just because they heard you say, I wish we could get da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and next thing you know, somebody comes and is, oh, I heard you say, and you go, whoa, what's your name? I mean, and not for nothing, all these people are looking for cheap labor. And so, to me, I would take that and use that to my advantage. I say get your foot in the door however you can, an internship program, an entry-level position. When I was first starting out, when I got my first TV job, I sat there with the broadcast yearbook. There are 212 TV markets in the country. Mm-hmm. I sat there with the broadcast yearbook.
Same thing.
Did you?
Presque Isle, Maine was 212, and New York was number 1.
That's right. That's exactly. All right. That's exactly what I did. Sat there with the broadcast yearbook and a map of the United States. And I said, I figured I couldn't get in the top 20. I didn't think I could get in the top 20. I'd had a year-long reporter training program. But I had a resume tape. I thought maybe I could get in like 25 to 55. So I narrowed it to that. And then I looked at the map and I said, my mom lived in Chevy Chase, Maryland. My dad died when I was in college, but I was very tight with my mom. I don't really want to move too far away from Chevy Chase, Maryland. So let's look at the map. Maybe if I don't go past Missouri, that's like right in the middle of the thing. Then I looked at the different markets to see where they were, which was 26, 27. Then I looked at cities that had sports teams, because I thought sports teams give you energy, give a city energy, whether it's basketball, football, soccer, even if it's a great college town like Ohio. I thought, okay, they give you energy. Because keep in mind, I'm moving somewhere where I know nobody. So I thought, okay, then I narrowed it down a little bit more. Then I would get the name of the news director in the individual places that I was looking at. But more important than the news director, I would get the name of his or her assistant, because they know every damn thing. I would call the assistant, I would introduce myself. Hi, my name is Gayle King. I'm 23 years old. I'm a young black single woman, 23 years old, and I'm applying for my first job. I'm just asking if you'll be candid with me about openings at your station. Because nobody can tell you, we can't hire you because you're black, or we already have 2 black people. I knew if you had 2 black people on staff, you ain't hiring another one. I knew that. I sometimes knew if you had 1 black person, you ain't hiring another one. So I would say, can you tell me the makeup of your news department? Do you have, how many men, women do you have? How many black, white do you have? And there was something about they could tell I was a earnest voice on the telephone, because I want to send my resume tape, but I know that your boss, and I know the boss's name, gets a gazillion tapes, and I just don't want my tape to be sitting on a pile somewhere. So if you think that there's an opening, and if you think I should can I send my tape to you, and you make sure they see it? That's how I did it. And I went through point by point by point, and some people would say, well, you know, you're honest with me, I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't send it here. You know, we've just hired X amount of people. Or if I were you, I would send it here right away. And I will make sure. And that's how I got my foot in the door. It's the same thing when I was looking for a gynecologist, when I had my first baby. I called around to the hospitals and asked to speak to the nurses. And the hospital where I knew I was going to deliver Kirby, Yale, New Haven at the time, because I was living in that area, I said, you know, I'm a nurse from San Francisco, California. I'm going to be moving to New Haven, and you know we as nurses know everything. Who do you think is the best OB/GYN in your hospital? And every time the same name kept coming up over and over and over and over again. The twins, Charles and Thomas Helm, came up. And I go, okay, well, if you had to pick one, they go, it doesn't matter. Either one of them is great. But only one person said, well, if I had to pick, I'd pick Charles. And so Charles Helm is still my OB/GYN today. And Will is 29 years old. So I schlepped my ass to Connecticut, even though we have great OB. Well, I don't need a GY. I don't need a OB person anymore. That ship is long sailed. But I don't need that anymore. But I still go to see him because he was so. And I told him, "You're not going to believe how I got you. You are not going to believe it." And he just cracked up. But I was always a very due diligence kind of person.
See, we got broadcast journalism, Spanx, OB/GYN. You get everything here at Bloomfield College.
Yes.
We got time for one more question, right?
Yes, we do. And you're the one. You guys all look so nice. Everyone has on ties in the front row. Wow. I have to say, I am very impressed. I am very impressed. Especially because you know that story, United Airlines, where they kicked somebody off for wearing the Spanx. I mean, for wearing the leggings. For wearing the leggings. Now, yes, but that's the thing. United got so hammered in the news, and then I heard the second part of the story, that it's for employees, and if they're on a buddy pass, the United Airlines has a policy on how they want you to look. And when you hear that, I think their policy is a little out of date, because now everybody's wearing leggings and you can wear them and they can actually look good. But the fact that the United Airlines has a policy on how they want their people to look, and you're flying for free, I don't think they should be hammered for that. I think it's a totally different ballgame.
Two sides to every story.
That's the thing. There are two sides. Because when I first heard it, I go, that's ridiculous. And the girl was 10 years old and her leggings were pink. How do you kick her off the flight? Yes.
Hi, my name is Ishmael Martinez.
Hello, Mr. Martinez.
I saw you were talking about how you had a degree in social science and sociology and psychology.
Yes.
But you're in communications.
Yes.
Why do you think that you went to the communication field, and what did you think you could have learned if you actually studied communications?
I know, that's such a good story. That's such a good point. I wonder, would I be a better writer if I'd actually taken all these classes, or if I had, you know, come through the ranks? Well, this is the thing about anybody in TV. Unlike medical school or law school, you're going to get 10 different stories on how we all got into it. You know, not everybody went to journalism school and did this and did that and, you know, worked their way to the ranks. You're going to get 10 different answers. For me, I was at University of Maryland. I was a RA. I was a desk receptionist. I was very involved in the activity of the school. And I had a part-time job working at a camera station. And, you know, that was in the days when you used to take your film into the camera store. And you would say, do you want glossy or matte? Do you want two? Do you want two, or do you just want one? So I was a girl behind the counter taking your order. It was in the neighborhood of a TV station, and these guys would always come in. They were muckety-mucks. I didn't know what their position was. I just knew they worked at WTOP TV. And one of them said to me, you have such a nice demeanor, and you have such a nice voice. Have you ever thought of TV? I went, no, I've never thought of television. And then he said, well, you know, we have a production assistant job opening. Would you be interested in applying? And I said something you should never say when someone is literally handing you a gift. I said, do you have to work weekends? Now hear this, and he's like, well, I'm surprised at that question, but no, you don't, Gayle. You have to work nights. Would that fit with your schedule? I go, and I didn't realize he's being sarcastic. I go, yes, actually it would, because I get out of class at 2. So I work 3 to 11. So I got this job, and I walked into the newsroom, and I was a person that, you know, we call them Chiron. So the only person you never Chiron on a newscast is the President of the United States. But everybody else is Chiron, and that's like, you know,
The names underneath.
the names and their titles. But you never have to Chiron the President, of course. So I was the one that was typing up the Chirons. When you look behind the person, if we're reading a story about President Trump and there's a picture, I was the one that pulled the slides back then and put them in order. I was the one that would rip up the scripts and distribute them to the anchors. I ran the prompter, so when we're reading, somebody's reading, turning the prompter. So it was a very entry-level position. But I got in there and I was like blown away by the news. Number one, the people that put the newscast together. There was a breaking news story that day, so everybody was running all around. I'd seen people that I would watch on TV, like, you know, Gordon Peterson and J.C. Hayward and Maureen Bunny. I went, oh my God, they're real people. And so that was fascinating to me. And then I just became hooked. And I thought, God, I wonder how I could do this. And so that's how it started for me. So I don't wonder what would have happened. You know, and then I just worked really hard. I latched onto somebody, a few somebodies. Could I go out with you on your story? I would come in on my days off. They would write a story, and I would write a story too. And then I would pick their bites. I got to know the crew well enough and said, could I shoot a stand-up? I shot a stand-up, put together a resume reel. So, I mean, I just really, just sort of, there's always somebody who is willing to help you, always. Now, there's a difference between people who really want to learn this job, you know, and people go, oh my God, Gayle, I just love you, I want you all the time. That's very nice, and I'm not knocking that. But the people who I think are really sincere are the people that you want to work with, the people that you want to help. I don't want somebody who's just sitting there just staring at me googly-eyed, like, oh my God. That actually makes me uncomfortable. But somebody who really wants to learn this job and learn this profession, because I think it's still one of the best jobs in the world. You know, this digital stuff, I'm very technically challenged. So I still have a BlackBerry, but I also have an iPhone 2. You'll notice everybody that has a BlackBerry goes, I have the iPhone 2. I'm still technically challenged, and I need to work on that, because digital, as you know, is changing this game. But I still, all these years later, I still feel like my first job, Gale King Action News, I still love this job. Being the first people to tell you something. I love that you can go to bed at night, and you can wake up in the morning, and your world has changed, and who gets to tell you? We do! I love that.
Well, knowing that I'm starting to feel a little guilty now that I know she's got to get up at 3:20 in the morning. So I would like to.
3:22.
I would like to
You
say.
must be off today, huh, Jim?
No, I was in this morning. I have the end piece tonight on the evening news.
Oh, what is it?
It's on Don McLean's American Pie.
Oh,
yeah.
bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Is he still alive?
He's 72. The song's being inducted into the Library of Congress.
Oh, good.
And he was playing the song, and
Are you talking to him?
yeah, I have an interview
Oh,
with him about the
wow.
writing of the song.
Wow,
And
he's
the worst part
72.
was, and I started to cry in the middle of the interview.
You did? Why?
I had a
Why?
fight with the editor about taking that shot out.
You took it out?
Well, we kind of left it in quasi.
What? Yes. Why would you? Why? Well, first tell us why you started to cry.
Because it was so moving. I remember listening to that song as a kid.
Yeah.
And it was the first big song that I remember being.
I'll bet
I
you
knew
know
all
the
the
words,
and
yes.
the meaning.
Why
the
didn't you sing along
significance.
when we were singing, Jim?
If you heard my voice, you wouldn't ask that question.
know the words.
Yeah. And so I just found myself, he was sitting there, I'm here, he's playing the song.
Wow.
It's like a wow. Because as you say,
Yeah.
the best part of this job is sometimes where you find yourself.
Yes.
And if you lose touch with the wonderment of that,
Yeah.
you should find another way to make a living.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So-
Where does he live?
He lives in upstate New York. There's a place in Maine and a place in Southern California. American Pie was very, very good to him.
Wow. I'll bet you. I hope you left it in.
We did.
You?
We left a little. We left an artful
Yes.
shot in.
Were you
And
embarrassed? That
I wasn't embarrassed at all. I cry if the waitress recites the specials the right way. I'm a big crier.
Jim, I'm worried about you then, Jim. You might want to see somebody about that.
But I don't want to ever feel like I'm manipulating the viewer.
yes.
You know, you don't want to be pulling any
But when it's
chains.
genuine.
This was as genuine as it gets.
Yes, when it's genuine, the audience senses it, and it's never manipulation when it's genuine, ever, ever,
All right,
ever.
so speaking of genuine, I just want to say thank you.
Oh, thank
for
you.
being here. Your visit to Bloomfield College is enormously meaningful for this entire community. I want to thank you, though, more importantly, for what you've done, not just for the place we work, for our industry, but actually, at the end of the day, for giving our culture somebody who is clearly so connected to her heart and to the importance of connection.
Oh, thanks.
So thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you for being here. All right, before you go, Jackie,
Hello,
did you want
people
to come
over
up and take some, come on up, Jackie.
Hello, people over there. You guys were good.
Well, I just, again, round of applause. What a wonderful, wonderful program. And I must say, Gayle, you've said that, anyone on TV, they're just people, but I'm really starstruck. I really am.
They are just people.
We're
it's true.
actually going to go through some photos, if that's possible. So what I wanted to do...
No, I don't take photos after 4. My face starts to fall.
But before we do that, we have some Bloomfield College swag. And our
thank
hope
you.
is to see maybe a basic
Is this an umbrella?
morning news or
Because I do need that.
Yeah, you have.
an
I'm telling
opportunity to for you
Thank
to
you, Mr.
share.
President. You cannot have too many umbrellas, and I'm not kidding about that.
So
And
thank
there's a
you again
logo.
so much. And I'd like to call up for the first photo Dr. Jeannie Nutter, Esther Dillard, and the
Yes, I want a
oral
picture with Dr.
interpretation
G
class.
myself. Very nice.
It's great, thank you.
Okay.
We want you in a photo too with the trustees, okay? Awesome. Yeah, great.
Hey, Zach, do you even like the Zach Brown Band?
I hear the song, so I know when people reference it to me.
Yes.
Thanks, Rich.
Somewhere I have some connection,
But it's not really your type of music?
I'm from South Dakota, so everyone
But-
the Zach Brown band. But
Yes.
so I'm
Wasn't that just great?
They're good. They're
Wasn't
good.
that
Do
just
you
wonderful?
like Eddie?
stay right there.
It's her phone.
Oh, good.
I want everyone to gather around.